Hello, welcome back. This is part 2. As per the last video, this will be 5 full chapters of this story long, and the fanfiction's link will be in the description below if you want to read ahead of my videos. So we will end it off at part 5, and we will start off at part 6. Chapter 6, Introductions. Shuna and Shion spoke, yelling, "Rimuru-sama, we were worried." The two shake Rimuru back and forth as everyone, save for them, and Rimuru get up and form a line. Rimuru then speaks. "I missed you guys too, but maybe don't shake me so hard, okay?" Getting that they should probably stop, they let Rimuru go, who stands up and offers his hand to the two, who accept it and are now standing. Rimuru continues his speaking. "Sorry about all of that. Anyway, I should probably introduce you all, huh?" Sirius looks to the female and them at Rimuru, before looking back at Remus, looking like he's about to die from joy. His godson, even in another life, is a ladies' man. Then Sirius thinks, "And here I was thinking he was married to that black-haired girl, but he's got a whole bunch, James. James, I hope you're able to see this now." Remus sighs and speaks, "I know that look. Oh dear." Dumbledore then interrupts. "Yes, an introduction would be very welcomed." "Right, well, the one who's trying to sneak up behind me is Valdore. He's a shut-in, so don't let his muscles fool ya." Rimuru introduces him, who then speaks out. What? I'm not a shut-in. I opened a portal to come here after you. We're sworn friends, remember? BFF, remember? Rimuru speaks again. "I'm only joking, Valdora. Calm down, and don't look so sad." The dragon responds, "Oh, wait, that's right, we were supposed to tell you." "What is it?" "Well, time seems to be moving differently in the other world for some reason." Valdora holds up his hand as if looking through a magnifying glass, and he gets really close to Rimuru as he continues. "I think it's the magic that summoned you here." Rimuru thinks to himself, "What? Ain't that bad for the planet? Time to change like that." Shuna interrupts his thoughts. "Rimuru-sama, there's no need to worry. The other demon lords and mages from across the world are working to make sure the planet doesn't suffer. A few even think that if the spell that brought you here is completed, that might fix everything, and everything will go back to normal." Sirius thinks to himself, "Go back? Wait, he can't. They just can't. What am I thinking? Look at him. He's happy just talking to them. So long as he's happy. Right. Still, maybe I should tag along. I missed so much, and I wasn't there for him. So there's a chance he won't even want me to be there with him. I'll ask before he goes." Dumbledore also thinks to himself, "Go back? No, not likely. We just got him back. He must be the one to defeat the Dark Lord. But then, I also have hurt this boy in ways I don't even wish to imagine. Perhaps I have become far too much like you were, willing to truly do whatever it takes for my vision of the future. I wonder if perhaps I ask him if he would assist defeating Tom." Rimuru speaks, continuing. So I just got to go back, huh? And time and everything will go back to normal for everyone?" "That was the theory, but there truly isn't much to go off of." Shuna responds. Seal interrupts Rimuru's thoughts. "Report. It is likely that when crossing into this world through the goblet of fire, as it's called, these people's old summoning magic caused a ripple-like effect connecting times between both worlds, between Chloe and husband. Rimuru responds with his thoughts as well. It's more like we both need to go back, huh? Jeez. Maybe it's a good thing they lost their summoning magic. Taking people from their homes is wrong anyway. After a bit more thought, Rimuru perks up. Oh right, I still need to finish introductions. Right, Alright, sorry. The grammar there was terrible. Like I said, this guy here is Veldora Tempest. Sirius thinks to himself. They share the same last name. The look those give to each other reminds me of how Sirius and James would look at each other when they got an idea. I think it's safe to say that your son made a friend for life. Remus thinks to himself. Rimuru then moves on to the next person. This one here is Shuna. She's great at cooking, making clothes. In fact, she's the one that's made all the clothes I'm wearing now. Shuna gives a small bow and politely introduces herself, declaring that it was very nice to meet them all. Moving over once more, this here is Diablo. He's kinda like my own personal butler, and he really is one hell of a butler. Diablo gains a full-blown smile at Rimuru's praise, as he places a hand over his heart and he gives a small bow. But on the inside, he's screaming like a fangirl who just met their celebrity crush, and getting called pretty by them. Moving on, Sirius' eyes almost shoot out of his sockets from the size. If you know, you know. Rimuru speaks again. This one is Shion. She's my first secretary and original bodyguard. Shion looks smug as she straightens her back, a cocky but happy smile on her face. Rimuru then moves on, continuing. This next one is a very good boy. A tail wags, but after learning from past mistakes, it wags slowly. His name is Ranga. Rimuru pets Ranga's head as the good dog moves closer to the touch. As Rimuru stops a bit of whining rings out from Ranga as Rimuru stops in front of Chloe. And for those who don't know, this is Chloe Albert. She's an old student of mine back when I was a teacher. Rimuru smiles thinking back as he thinks. It wasn't long, but it was fun. The others say hello, introducing themselves, and after a bit more of conversation, they determine that they will need a place of stay. Not wanting to fail his godson again, Sirius almost jumps at the opportunity to say they can stay with him before Dumbledore says that he has some rooms that they can stay in so that Rimuru can be close for the tournament. After a bit more conversation, they are all let go and they make their way to their rooms. Where they were given turns out that they were given. Oh my god. Turns out that the founders of Hogwarts made extra rooms in case something went terribly wrong with the originals. They are warned that since nobody has entered since the time of the founders, they may be a bit dusty. Although, it's waved off and told that it is fine. They're told to go and Rimuru stops and turns around as he thanks everyone for the rooms. With this, Rimuru leaves to head to the rooms that they have been given. As Dumbledore sits back and watches Sirius and Rimuru and oh my god. As he sits back and watches Sirius and Remus talk about having Rimuru, or Harry as they're calling him now. Well, Sirius is calling him saying how much work it's going to take to get used to. Dumbledore's thoughts ring out in his head. Strange. As many times as I tried reading the thoughts of that boy's mind, I could never get through. He has impressive mental barriers. Sorry, that chapter, I'm cooked, alright? Let's continue. Chapter 7, A Day with Sirius. Sirius, I don't really know how that's pronounced. Sorry, I haven't read or watched Harry Potter in a while. So, yeah. I'll probably stick with Sirius for now, though. Actually, yeah, Sirius. Yeah, whatever. Let me continue. Sorry. Rimuru sits and waits for the night to turn to day. As he sits in his slime form on a bed, being cuddled by Shion and Shuna with Chloe in the middle. I thought they were supposed to sleep in a different room. How'd they even get into mine? Rimuru lets a soft sigh as he thinks to himself. His mind moves to a different subject. Wonder what this tournament will be like. I don't think it'll be easy, but I don't think they would make it too hard either. People who were supposed to participate are students, so they should go easy. So should I just go easy in the tournament? What to do? I shouldn't go so easy either. As night turns to day, everyone gets up and begins moving around as Shuna comes up behind Rimuru, who is still in his slime form. She speaks. Rimuru-sama. Rimuru looks back at her. She has clothes in her hand. Rimuru thanks her before jumping into her hands, absorbing the clothes, and transforming back into his human form. For those who are wondering, the picture here is Rimuru in his season 1 fit, except for instead of it being blue, it is black. Deciding that it's for the best, Rimuru puts his sword into his stomach and gets ready to leave the room. While the others are still getting ready, Rimuru waits for them. Once they are all ready, they leave, walking down the staircase into the castle, looking at all the moving paintings. As they make it to the bottom of the staircase, they are all about to head somewhere. A giant set of doors seems to open. It looks like the students are having a feast. As Dumbledore spots them, he gets up and makes his way to them. Noticing Ranga isn't with them, he wonders where the wolf must have gone to. He then speaks. Rimuru, my boy, why don't you and your companions have breakfast? Rimuru feels Shuna's gaze on him as he puts his hands up, and he speaks. I'm afraid I'll have to pass. Well, if you truly are sure, but I must say the food is marvelous. Dumbledore responds, only for Rimuru to interject. I don't doubt that, but I'm good. Very well. So you know classes are about to start. You may not simply roam the halls for the time being. I think this is meant to say you may simply roam the halls for the time being. Or I can have Sirius come and gather you so you may readjust. Rimuru answers. That would be great, thanks. Dumbledore leads them to his office and seems to speak into his fireplace as he motions for them to take a bit of sand and say the name Diagon Alley. As they all do, Rimuru goes last and is shot out of the fireplace. Luckily, he slams into Veldora, knocking them both down as Rimuru shakes his head. Wow, talk about a way to travel. Sirius speaks. You look like that, then you should travel by Portkey. A what? Remus goes to answer Rimuru's question. A Portkey, it's a... Don't tell him. Let it be a surprise, Sirius interrupts. I don't like the sound of that, Rimuru thinks. After that, Sirius and Remus show the group around Diagon Alley, and noticing that they don't seem very surprised or impressed. They even get some ice cream, and the group doesn't seem to like the flavor. Say, what do you think is wrong with your friends? I thought they may like ice cream. Rimuru responds, oh yeah, they do. It's just complicated. Let's go with that one. Cyrus and Remus gain looks of confusion. How can ice cream be complicated? It's ice cream. Unknown to them, Rimuru seems a little worried that they may say the reason they don't like it. He's worried the ice cream vendor is upset that they don't seem to like his ice cream. As everyone thinks to themselves, it doesn't have the taste of Rimuru-sama or Rimuru-sensei. All magic. And with that, they spend the day looking over things until Rimuru sees some people lifting things with sticks. He curiously speaks. What are those wands? You say that like you don't have a wand. Sirius speaks. Well, you see... What? Sirius yells. Remus covers his ears, already expecting the reaction. Sirius then continues his speech after yelling out loud. You don't have a wand, and how do you use magic? Unless it's wandless, I don't think you could be doing so much. Then how do you... Like this, Rimuru interrupts, and he raises his hands, shooting ice into the sky, shocking the two who are watching. Remus, don't do that again. Luckily, no one seems to be paying attention. But simply doing magic like that will be bound to gather a great deal of attention. That's true. Cyrus is still looking up as he spoke. And he continues, okay, how about we get you a wand? Rimuru tilts his head, and the next thing he knows, they're all inside of a wand shop. Chapter 8, Special Order. Rimuru is standing in a building that, looking at all the dust on the floor, is a bit unappealing. Rimuru then speaks, why are we here exactly? For a wand, Sirius answers. Okay, but why? I don't really need one, and I'm not from this world anymore anyway. Don't you think they'd think that the other world would have different magic? Remus answers. That is not the issue. It's a simple thing, really. Well, for one, Sirius wishes to buy you something that you can keep with you, and there's a wand weighing that all champions must do. More traditions. Really, I mean, I'm all for traditions, but this seems to get old and fast. First I have to compete, now I have to get a wand? I won't even use. What's next? A dance? Remus and Sirius look at each other trying to hide the smile, and this does not go unnoticed by Rimuru. Oh, for the love of... Well, it's a good thing I had them stand outside while we went in. The only one who would be able to tell any of them about the dance would be Ranga. Don't betray me, Ranga. Seal then speaks in Rimuru's head. Request. I would like to be husband's date to this dance. I also believe we should investigate it further. Oh, this is gonna start a fight? Rimuru responds to himself, although breaking Rimuru from his train of thoughts. A letter rolls on a track before coming to a stop, as an old man stands on it. Rimuru, having read the name on the building, believes this is Ollivander. Ollivander speaks. Ah, Mr. Parter. Or rather, Mr. Tempest. A pleasure at least. Rimuru watches as the old man immediately sets out to finding a wand. He continues speaking. It seems only yesterday that James and Lily were in here buying their first wands. He takes out a box and brings it to Rimuru, who has his eyebrows raised as he is handed the wand. But as soon as his hand makes contact with the wand, it explodes, shocking everyone at the noise. And the group outside looks inside to see what happened, just to see the remains of a brown wand. Ollivander speaks, a bit perplexed. This is new. Let us try a few other combinations, shall we? I believe Lord Black is the one paying for everything. Sirius perks up at this, as he begins to wonder how much this is gonna cost. And here he was thinking it would be simple, but now that he thinks about it, he did watch the boy perform wandless magic, so maybe... Boom! Sirius jumps at the sound of another wand breaking as Remus looks to Sirius, who looks at him. Seeing the smirk on his friend's face, he speaks. Not a word. Oh, of course not, Padfoot. Pop, 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 pop. Several wands later, Ollivander continues. Strange indeed. I may need to make a special one for you. Rimuru continues, making one. How long would that take? Mr. Tempest, even I can tell how strong your magic is just from this. I'll have to try to combine 2 cores. I'll need a strong material for that. Luckily, there is such a material, but it's not cheap, so... I would say about a week. Alright, thank you, then. Of course, my boy. Now, I must get to work. Ollivander looks at Sirius, who's going to get to paying for everything for the one that was broken, as well as the special one that is being made. Remus speaks. Rimuru, shall we head outside? Alright then. The two head outside and see a blonde man trying to start something with Rimuru's group. That is until Rimuru focuses on the man and unleashes a small bit of his demon lord aura on him, causing the man to go pale and run. Who was that? Remus answers the question. That would be Lucius Malfoy. Seems he thought he could bully your group. Wonder what got into him. Rimuru looks up with an innocent smile. Who knows? Rimuru heads over to his group and makes sure that everything is alright. Remus stands there in wonder as Sirius comes out. What's wrong? Did something happen, Mooney? Lucius appeared trying to start something before he ran off. Sirius responds, well, who made him run like that? I'd like to thank them. But I could never stand that man. Remus laughs silently as Sirius pats him on the shoulder as the two go to join the others. Part 9. Leaving Diagon Alley. Rimuru asks to look around a bit longer. Luckily, he gets his way somehow, and even gets to move around alone. As Rimuru looks around, he sees a broomstick on display, and he thinks to himself immediately, you're kidding. They actually ride brooms? Seeing another store full of books, Rimuru goes to look at the broomsticks before he overhears a conversation. Get out of our society, you filthy. You're filthy, and an insult to our world, just like your mud-blood mother. Crying of a child fills the alley. Rimuru overheard the conversation as Rimuru goes to look. A kid runs into him without even thinking. The child latches onto Rimuru to cry her eyes out as Rimuru looks at the grown man who made the child cry. What? A girl? The man speaks. He has an ally with him. Look at her hair. Wait. That's Potter. What? Yeah, I see. I remember reading about him returning from the store. Otherworld in that paper. What do you want, Poe? With a simple glare, the two grown men turn and run from Rimuru, begging for forgiveness, but Rimuru doesn't care about that. Instead, he gets on one knee and pats the girl's head, allowing her to cry before he asks where the girl's parents are, getting the answer that the girl got lost. Rimuru agrees to help her find her parents. It doesn't take long to find them, as the mother immediately takes the girl into his arms. As for the father, he speaks. You're Harry Potter, sorry, I mean Rimuru Tempest, correct? You were in the Daily Prophet. I read about your return. It's nice to finally meet you. Yeah. Nice to meet you as well. Shaking the man's hand, Rimuru soon leaves the girl behind with her family, but the girl thanks him just before he leaves. But a thought does linger in his mind. Mudblood, huh? From the way they said it, it's an insult for sure. Rimuru walks by a bookstore and decides that maybe he'll get a few books. Sirius did give him a few gallons. Walking into the library, a bell rings and the clerk looks up at Rimuru, shocked at just who entered. The man looks like he's about to run at Rimuru and thank him several times over for what Rimuru doesn't know. But he simply waves the man waves back, a starstruck look in his eyes, as Rimuru goes to looking around, soon making his way upstairs. No, boring, hairy. Wait, what? Rimuru stops, pulls out a book that said Harry Potter. The Legendary Adventures of Harry Potter, huh? Looking up and seeing others, some even be placed with the cover of a young boy fighting a dragon. Rimuru looks the book up and down, and then he flips through a few pages as sheer confusion passes his face. They can't actually believe this stuff, can they? How could a kid do any of this, Rimuru flips onto a page that catches his interest. Reading through it, it claims that a baby at the sight of his dead parents filled the baby with rage and defeated you-know-who. Okay, this is completely ridiculous. Who believes this junk? How could a baby beat... Who the hell is you-know-who anyway? A name would be nice. Sighing, Rimuru puts the book back on its shelf. Deciding he's had enough, he goes to leave and the clerk looks at him. Are you not going to be buying anything, Mr. Tempest? Rimuru sighs, grabs a random book that seems to be about plants, takes it, pays for it, and leaves, being on his way. His thoughts still running. Actually, looking around now, that may explain why I've been getting weird looks when we first got here. No one really noticed because I was surrounded, but now that I'm alone... Rimuru looks around, seeing several wizards and witches looking at him in awe, like they're meeting some superhero for the first time. This is just weird. Rimuru's train of thought is cut off as a man runs into him, hand extended, forcing Rimuru's hand up and shaking it. Welcome back, Mr. Potter. Welcome back at long last. It's with this that several others make their way to shake his hand as well. Rimuru looks completely confused as he speaks in his head. Seal? Yes, husband? I'm not imagining this, am I? They really think that a baby killed somebody? It is not your imagination. They are shaking your hands. Rimuru's hand continues to be shaken as his thoughts run all over the place. There are even several older witches that seem to be making passes at him. Luckily, Sirius and the others decide to get him, then getting him out of there. And back to the house through a fireplace. Okay, first, thank you. Second, got a question. I heard something that grabbed my attention. What's a mudblood? Rimuru speaks, wanting his questions answered. Sirius looks at Rimuru and sighs, answering his question. It means a dirty blood. Remus interrupts him. It's a less than polite word for someone who is muggle-born. Shuna speaks out, wondering what a muggle is. What is a muggle? It's someone who was born not having any magical parents. Someone without magic in the bloodline is another way of explaining it. Your mother, Lily, she was a muggle-born, and your father was a pureblood. Neither he or I really bought into the pureblood notions. Sirius responds, answering the questions. So then it's like being a racist. Rimuru speaks. In a way, yes, purebloods, save for a few, are not exactly accepting people. Anyone who isn't a wizard or witch is usually beneath them, even half-bloods, which is what you would have been, but they have a special hate for muggle-borns. A small thing comes into the room yelling about bringing people such as these into the mistress' house. Underneath his breath, saying several things that Rimuru doesn't understand and doesn't wish to understand. He's about to bump into Chloe before a glare from Rimuru stops him in his tracks. Rimuru is about to say something before Sirius interrupts. "Creature, away with you!" The little creature walks away, mumbling about how he lives to serve the noble house of Black, though you can tell he doesn't wish to listen to Sirius. Sorry about him. He never was very kind, especially to me. What is he? He's a house elf. They're in a way slaves to their family. Believe me, I would try to free him if I could, but let's just say it's complicated. Slaves, blood status, forced into a tournament against my will. This really is becoming a headache. Hopefully it doesn't get much worse. Chapter 10. Back to Hogwarts. Rimuru and the others are getting ready to return to Hogwarts as the day begins to come to an end. As Rimuru walks into a room, seeing several names on the wall with pictures, though some of the pictures are burned. Hello. Sirius speaks. Rimuru turns to him and responds, "Oh, sorry, I just saw some names and thought It's no problem at all. Have you found my name by chance?" Rimuru turns and sees it with a burned picture. "My mother did that. She wanted me disowned. It didn't play out the way she wished it to." Rimuru looks at Sirius before asking him a question. "You said before you were my godfather?" Rimuru notices that Sirius flinched at the word "were," and he speaks past tense. "Sorry, no, it's fine. I was your godfather, yes. Like I said, I had failed horribly." "What happened?" It's not a memory I enjoy reliving, but you do have a right to know. James and Lily went into hiding. They were hiding from Voldemort, using a spell to hide them. They needed someone who knew where to be, who knew where they would be. It's called a secret keeper. James wanted me to be the secret keeper. I, on the other hand, well, I thought I was the obvious choice, so we chose someone else, using me as a decoy. Well, it so happened that the person we chose to be the true secret keeper, someone we thought to be our friend, well, he wasn't really a friend at all. I had left you with Hagrid. You'll meet him. He's a good person, so don't worry. But my mistake was not trying to take care of you. Instead, I went for revenge, and as soon as I was off to Azkaban, Rimuru watches as Sirius closes his eyes, already getting the idea of what it was like. I hadn't known what had happened until I was freed. Even then I didn't kill him. Remus and Dumbledore had kept me from doing that, though once I found out what had happened, let's just say Remus had to keep an eye on me. I'm sorry I wasn't there. It's alright. Besides, I've lived 2 different lives, and both have been pretty good. Besides, you're free now, right? Rimuru then pats Sirius on the shoulder as he thinks to himself. It's strange, but he really does seem to care, and it does seem like he regrets what ended up happening, but Voldemort? Strange name. Tell me, do you think this Voldemort is still alive? Rimuru voices his thoughts. Sirius responds, I have my beliefs. Yes, I do think he's alive, though I do not know the condition he is in. I would say he's building his strength. Well, I believe it's time for you to be heading back. The first task will be happening soon after all. Right, the tournament. I wonder what I'll have to do. I'm afraid I don't have the answer for that, but I do feel the need to tell you to be careful. I don't know how your name got into that goblet, but I do think it was a Death Eater. A what? Death Eater? Do they eat death? No, they are followers of Voldemort. Listen, people have died in this tournament. Don't let your guard down. They let students compete in a tournament that people die in? Okay, I have a big problem with that. Okay, first you're telling me that they let students die? Well, the tournament, realizing that Rimuru isn't listening and is instead about to go on a rant, Sirius quiets down. About to rant until the door opens, Diablo standing there getting Rimuru's attention. Rimuru-sama, it is time to go now. Right, I'll be there soon. With a bow, Diablo leaves. I have a question for you, Sirius voices. What is it? Well, the way those people behave. It's like a servant, especially that man. What's your relationship with them? Rimuru scratches the side of his cheek. Well, Chloe, the black-haired girl, she was a student of mine. You were a teacher? Yeah, pretty surprising, huh? The others, well... I said before in Dumbledore's office, though I guess he didn't exactly say... Although, I guess I didn't exactly say that they do kinda serve me. Oh. Yeah, I'm kinda like a king. I guess, but why do you want to know? A king? A bit of laughter escapes Sirius as he speaks. Until he notices Rimuru not being amused. I'm sorry, it's just, well, I've learned that if you want to know more about a man, you should just look at the way he treats the inferior, not the way he treats his equals. I wouldn't say they're really inferior. They're kind of like my family, you know? And that's how one can tell who a good person is. So I would say, your parents would be proud of the person you are. Thanks. Remus, who was standing outside to get Sirius to let go of Rimuru so they could go, smiles softly. Meanwhile, Dumbledore sits behind a desk as he looks at several papers as his fireplace lights up, and Rimuru and his group comes out. Sorry for being so late. Scratching the back of his head, Rimuru speaks as he lets out an awkward laugh. Seeing the few papers that went flying, Rimuru, assuming it was them, but with a wave of his hand, Dumbledore brings back the papers. It's not a problem at all. Rimuru notices a smaller, rounder man sitting at the opposite end of Dumbledore's desk, and a Moody standing against the wall. Ah, Rimuru. How good it is to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Judging by the way he's dressed, he's either someone in charge of something important, or he has a lot of money. Ah yes, Mr. Tempest. This is Cornelius Fudge. He is the Minister of Magic. So in charge of the government from the sound of it. I see. Well, sorry to interrupt your conversation. We'll be going soon anyway. Rimuru and his group are about to leave, but just before they do, Dumbledore stops them. Before you do go, I have a few things for you. Dumbledore holds up something that is wrapped. It is a key. Oh, no. Dumbledore holds up something that is wrapped and a key. This key is the key to your vault at Greenock's, and this bag is another key. And, well, it's something that belonged to your father. I believe it's time it returned to the family. Rimuru takes the key and the wrapped item, feeling it, noticing that it feels like cloth. Thank you. Their group leaves, much to Fudge's dismay. From what I've seen, if he's in charge of a few things, he needs some work right now. I'm not exactly interested in talking to him. I think I'll look into this tournament, but first... Rimuru looks at the wrapping in his hand with interest. To be continued. That is part 10. So, that will be the end of part 2 of this fanfiction. As I said at the beginning, the link for this fanfiction will be in the description below. If you want to read ahead of me, please do like and subscribe. It will help a lot, and I really do appreciate every one of you, even if I don't always go out of my way to say so. It is the best feeling in the world. And with that, that'll be the end of this part. Hope you all enjoy, and thank you for watching.